Okay, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to select the class, and you do this just from your class list like you would attendance. First thing you need to do is come over to the Define Your Categories button, and this is probably the easiest one to do. It's just right here along in this list, or you can come over here to the side and click Define Assignments. Either one will work. So after clicking that, we now have to assign a category to it. Up here at the top, it'll say calculate averages using total points, or if it's not checked, you'll have the option to weight the categories. This is entirely up to you. It is easier to just do total points. So we're going to select classwork for this one. And once we select classwork, it's going to ask how many do we want to drop. If you want to drop the lowest classwork score, then you just enter the number 1. If you want to drop more than 1, enter the appropriate number there. At this time, we'll just leave this at 0. You can always come back and edit this towards the end of the 9 weeks if you choose to desire that. Marking periods, you can just leave blank. It will default to the first marking period and so forth based on our school calendar. The exclude missing determines do you want to have the score averaged in as a 0 or not count against their grade. Usually I've found that if it's averaged in as a 0, parents and students will see a lower score and wonder, and usually they'll get their work done in time after that. So we're going to check missing scores count as zeros in the average, and then click Save. Now we have our categories. We need to go to Assignments. So come up to the Assignments tab, click that, and now we have similar to what we did in Grade Quick, just a little bit different looking. So the date assigned, if we assigned it, let's say August 26th, we click OK, and then we come to the date due. If it was not due until August 28th, we click OK. And if you put this in and you have a project, and when we get to publishing items and publishing scores, it won't actually show the score or count it as a 0 until the due date has passed. So just be careful of that. When you get to more than one category, you'll have that option to select whether this was classwork, homework, or test. Since we only have one, we'll just leave it at classwork. The description is just like you would use in Grade Quick, the title of the assignment. In this case, we'll just say U.S. Physical Map, since this is an assignment we did at the beginning of the year for my class. If the space is not enough room, you can click more and have a very detailed assignment if you need to. Extra credit is just that. If you wanted to count this assignment as total extra credit, you can add it to the points or average. I wouldn't recommend doing this. You can still have extra credit on tests, but remember we're not allowed to do grade inflation at the time, so not extra credit is probably the standard that you're going to use. If you had a rubric that you wanted to attach, it would probably be easier to do something a little bit later, and I'll show you, but you could type in the rubric as you see here, and it would be on there attached to that score. So the points for the assignment is just the general points. We're going to say this one was 25, and now we see you can attach files. And attaching files, it allows mom or dad or the student to pull up what actually this was. So you just search for it based on your computer, and you come down here and find whatever it is you're looking for. And so this file is located in chapter 16, and it was the US physical map file. So I need to find where I have that. And if you'll give me a minute, I have a couple of different places to look. Here we go. So I just attach it there and then click upload, and now it's there. And I can go back to my assignments by clicking assignments, and I can come and at any time I can edit or delete the assignment. In order to delete the assignment, there can be no student scores entered for the assignment. So I want to edit this because I'm not quite done. I want to go ahead and publish the item, and I want to publish the scores because I'm going to enter the scores and show you how to do that. So then I click save, and now I have my first assignment. And so the next thing I need to do is add the scores. So I click on scores, and now you see your student roster and you have the spot to enter scores. If you have more than one assignment, the assignments will be here with the earliest date to the left, the newest date to the right. And this is just like Grade Quick. As you enter, you just enter the number. And remember, it's out of 25, so you can put them in accordingly. If I put in 26, it's going to show up a little bit different. And it tells you down here what color this means. So it means that this has exceeded the total number of points I gave it. So you can always go back and correct it as you need it. And it goes ahead and averages the student score. And as you enter scores and enter assignments, this is the report card value. So this is what would show up on the report card if it were to end at this date. So if I just put in random numbers here, and I'll show you what it looks like when we add a different score or a different assignment. Now on the last one, you're going to have to, you can't just hit enter as I've done here. It doesn't let you do anything. You have to move to a different student, and now we see that average. So this is simply how you add assignments. If you want to go back and add another one on a different day, come up here to your classes and you can basically start over. Or if you're on that class and you wanted to add back another assignment, you can click assignments again. And if it's still classwork, you don't have to go back to categories to define it. You simply enter the assignment again. But let's say we have a test and we need to enter it separately. So I come down here and click test. Again, dropping the lowest, excluding the scores. You have to do all of this again. And then I come to assignments by clicking on the assignments tab. And let's say I have a test on August 29th. And the date due and the date of the test is the same. And now you see I have two options in my categories, classwork and test. So I'm going to click test and just say chapter 1 test. And as I scroll through my options, again, it's not extra credit. I could put a rubric there. I'm going to give it points. And I can attach a copy of the test possibly if I wanted to, as I want to publish it and publish the scores at the same time. So publishing the item just lets parents and students see that that item is out there. Publishing the scores then allows the scores to be sent. So just like on GradeQuick when we had to send the scores to our Edline account, this does the same thing. So when you click publish scores, it is publishing it to their actual scores. And so now I go to my score page, and just like before, I enter the new scores, and you'll see the change on the student average as scores are entered accordingly. So that adding assignments and adding scores is not that much different than GradeQuick. It's just a couple of extra steps. One other thing I do want to make mention, that if you clicked on this assignment, we can see this student didn't do so well on the test. If I come up here to comment, I click on comment, and I can leave a comment for this student or for parents if they clicked on that grade, and I can say, Reagan did not study for the test, forgot to bring home study guide. And then again, I can save it and I can publish it. So if I published it and then click save, and then now notice down here at the bottom under the comment note, Reagan did not study for tests, it's there. So parents can click on this, and I don't have a view of what a parent will see. You can make notes about, in general, about that student on a particular date that you maybe have contacted parents about this. That way you have it there already. So I click scores to go back to scores, and notice now this score is in red. And if we look down here in red, it means that there is a comment there. So I can come back and, well, there's that note that I just wrote. So the eSchool allows us to do a couple of different things. You can look at the assignment average or the class average down here. If you look at the bottom row down here, on average, this is the scores. When you go to, say, I click on, I want to see a student and their grade at this point, I can click on printable. And right now it shows me everybody's grades. And of course, we haven't entered any for these students, so that's not there yet. But I also have an assignment descriptions key. So the first assignment was this date, the physical map, and then the chapter 1 test. I can do just the roster, just like we do on other reports. I can display start dates. I can show class averages, show grades. I can show total points if I need to. That way I can see how students are doing in that sense. I can show class averages. I may not want to do that if I print out students, individual students, or I can just look at the roster. And on the roster, again, I can add grids and just like we did on the other ones. So there's a few different things here. If I click on print, it's going to pull up my print icon and print exactly what you see there. If I go back to assignments and then scores again, I'm back here. If I click on just one student, it's going to pull up the student information there. And at this time, there's no interim progress, but it'll come eventually. The student detail, I can come down here to pick a student or every student if I wanted to print my own uh, progress report. I want to probably leave class averages off, but I want to display both the assessments and the student averages, so I want to select both there. If there's any notes, and then the signature line, and so I click run, and it's going to generate a progress report. So for this student, this was my first student, you can see the two assignments that we entered in the scores, the assessment weight, how much they were worth, the total points, and the percent. Down here you can see the categories, and here is be their score with their parent line. So if we scroll down, you'll see all of the students there. This was the student that had the low score, and then these are students that don't have a grade, so it shows up as a 0 and they can see their score accordingly. So that's just one other feature if you wanted to look at printing an individual student. So I go back to scoring assignments, and I decided I did something wrong and I need to take those out. So I just delete every student assignment or student grade. And now that it's blank, I come back to my assignments, and if you'll scroll over, you notice I have the option to delete. And since I didn't want to put that test in there, I decided not to. I click delete, and now it's no longer there. But there is not the delete option for this assignment because I have scores entered. So I have to go back to the score page, and I have to delete every single student score if I wanted to delete that assignment. It won't let you delete an assignment if you have scores entered for any student. But now that they're all deleted, I come back to my assignments, and there I have the delete option again, so I can delete, and now that's deleted. And if I wanted to change categories, I didn't like the classwork category, I want to change it to homework. Once everything in this category is deleted under the assignments, I can come back and delete the category. Same with the test, and then I can go back and add a new one. If I wanted to copy the category from this class to my other classes, I simply create the same one, and I click save. And let's do a homework one as well. So now I want to copy. I have to pick the classes I want to copy with. So I select all but that class, and then I scroll down here, and which category I want to copy. I want to copy the homework category, and I simply click copy, and now every class has that category in there. I don't have to go into each individual class and do the same thing. And it will work as well for assignments. Once I've entered an assignment in here, I click copy, I select the classes, and it's copied to every class. So I only have to do that once. Again, this is not a difficult system to use. It's just a lot of playing with it, and you really can't mess it up. If you do something wrong and you're not allowed to do it, it will tell you either it was an error. So just work on it. If you have any questions, you can talk to me, Ms. Birchfield, or Ms. Martin will surely be able to help you. Thank you and have a great day.